just go ahead and start blabbing because that's what I do best. So, um, hello everyone. Kaiju Galaxy's celebration of its 17th birthday. Um, so honestly, I kind of forgot that the birthday was coming up because I'm just really bad with dates in general. But I had written it on my calendar, and I saw it, and I was just like, 17 years, what is happening? Oh my goodness. So like it's just really surprising to see that this site has existed for this long. It has outlasted quite a few other sites, unfortunately, because there have been many great kaiju themed websites out there. Red Griffin, can you hear me? I still can't hear you, unfortunately. You can use the chat feature as well if you want to type in the chat. I think that will work for you. If that doesn't work, I do have the YouTube chat up in a different window. I always have like that chat up on like a different device because knowing my luck, something technological always happens with me. So, so in light of Kaiju Galaxy's anniversary, I wanted to talk a little bit about the site's history. I wanted to talk a little bit about what's to come for Kaiju Galaxy. And last but certainly not least, I would like to, talk a little bit about some questions that we've been posed just for, this event. So, Red Griffin's going to log back in and see if his audio works at that point. So, um, well, while we're waiting, I am joined by the wonderful GMAT. Hello, Maddie. How are you tonight?
I'm good, thank you.
It's quite early over where you are, so again, I appreciate you joining me at this late juncture. So, to get things started off with Kaiju Galaxy site history, I've shared this experience before. I think it's also on the main site's about section, but I my brother and I actually created Kaiju Galaxy back in 2004. So it was Godzilla's 50th anniversary, and we were on like other kaiju websites. We were on like Toho Kingdom, we were on Kaiju File, and we just wanted to kind of create our own site. And that's why we decided to create a message board through Envision Free, which was the hosting site at that time. Red Griffin, let's do a sound test. Can I hear you? Can you hear me? Nope, I still can't hear you. Mercury's in retrograde or something. I don't know why your sound's not working. Um, I don't think. No, there's nothing on my end. There's nothing on my end that I can do to adjust that. Hmm. Well, again, if all else fails and the audio ends up not working, uh, I mean, you'll still be able to participate through the chat function if you would like. Um, all right. So it was created back in 2004, and I think one reason why we wanted to create it was we wanted a space allocated for like creative kaiju fans normally, people who would write like fan fiction, do fan art. I apologize if you hear my dog barking in the background. It's my dog barking in the background. But we wanted to like kind of create this space for creativity and invite people to write fan fiction, do fan art, and a whole variety of different things. And it ended up taking on a larger form, and it started looking like a lot of other kaiju websites, which that was our goal. We wanted to do that. It gained a lot of membership very quickly, which we were excited about. But that also meant that it got really overwhelming. So it started expanding. We had a large staff. We ended up having at least over 100 active people for like a good 10 years on Kaiju Galaxy. But of course, when social media happened, that's when things started getting a little bit it started getting a little bit more inactive, right? And that tends to happen on message boards. So, Red Griffin, do we want to do another? Nope, I don't hear you yet. I'm enjoying seeing your reactions though, so that's at least something that we can work with. um so um one of the big highlights, because like I wanted to really talk about memories here from how things used to be, especially one of my favorite highlights of the site was the huge fiction collaboration that we did back in like 2005 or 2006 called When Aliens Attack. Um, Red Griffin, I don't know if you remember that because I think that may have been slightly before you were a member, right? Um, but Maddie, I think you might remember that because you've been on Kaiju Galaxy since I think 2005. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh well. I was a member from I think 2006 or seven.
2000, okay, yeah. So that was like toward like the end-ish of When Aliens Attack, but you probably at
Mm-hmm.
least saw it being mentioned from time to time, so
Oh
on and so
yeah.
forth.
Mm.
So, um, well, what ended up happening with that was, um, well, it started on Kaiju File. It was like this really large joint fiction venture that we wanted to do, right? And it ended up turning into like a huge collaborative effort across multiple sites. And we ended up moving it to Kaiju Galaxy at a certain point because it we had more space to work in and we could control the space a little bit more. And so we housed it over on Kaiju Galaxy, started, collaborating, putting it together, and it culminated in us presenting it at G Fest in 2007. So, my first time going to G Fest, we got to do like this panel conversation with who were we paneled with? We Because a lot of like the panels at conventions are paired with like different. I think it was the Godzilla Zero Hour people.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys like. Do you guys remember Godzilla Zero Hour? That creative venture. Red Griffin,
Mm-hmm.
you don't remember that? Say something, Red Griffin. Can I hear you yet? Nope. Oh no. I don't know. Maybe your microphone's just not working. Maybe it's a dysfunctional microphone. Oh, well, you can gesture at me if you want. Like that works. I can handle that. Um, so Red Griffin, if you have like a mobile device or something, if you want to log on to YouTube, even though we can't hear you, you can still type in that chat and you can still share your thoughts if you want. It's up to you though. So oh my gosh, so when aliens attack. Uh that was the most terrifying experience ever. Having to talk in front of people in Chicago, a place that I had never been to, at a convention I had never been to, about fan fiction. But it was super fun. Like it got our site's name out there, and we ended up having a very large gathering. I think it was one of the largest site gatherings at that time. I think, if memory serves me correctly, and Maddie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we probably had at least a dozen people from Kaiju
Yeah.
Galaxy there
Mm-hmm.
that year. And it was, of course, my first time meeting you as well. It was a really cool experience. It was one of my fondest memories. And um, I mean, in recent years, we've kind of had like small get togethers at G Fest, but mostly like between like three or four people. I'm hoping that as the new forum gets a little bit larger, um, we can maybe make that a larger gathering in the future at G Fest, right? Kevin's here. Hello, Kevin. So it's good to see you. Um, but here is the thing that happened at G Fest. I When we originally came up with the idea of When Aliens Attack and wanted to present it at G Fest, it was kind of met with like some people being like, "Ugh, fan fiction? Like, why are you Like, fan fiction is no big deal. I really feel like that moment when we had the opportunity to talk about When Aliens Attack proved that fan fiction is a big deal, and that, the creative, like, the creative writing side of the fandom flourishes, right? We see a lot of people really passionate about fan art, so on and so forth, but not really fan fiction anymore. And one of my goals with Kaiju Galaxy moving on out is to kind of reinvigorate that passion for fan fiction. So Kevin asks, what's happening? We are talking about the history of Kaiju Galaxy just a little bit. So we're currently in like the mid 2000s of the conversation. And Red Griffin says, I'm going to use the chat. That works perfectly. Sorry that your audio's not working. Maybe in the future when we do, like, maybe we'll do like a sound check or something before we do a stream. That's on me. I should have done that. I apologize. Arby's here. So, but yeah, it's funny. Um, since When Aliens Attack on Kaiju Galaxy, we haven't done a large joint fan fiction
Yeah.
venture yet, like since, but we're hoping that we might be able to do that again at some point. Um, Maddie, remind me, were you a writer for When Aliens Attack? I cannot remember off the top of my head.
No, no.
Did we end up recruiting you to compose any music for it? Because I know we were doing that for a while too, but I can't remember.
No.
Well, next time in the future, we're going to change that because Maddie's very talented with
Well,
music.
I don't know.
You're being modest. So yeah, Kevin, I do agree that fanfiction got a really bad name. Not sure why. It's really funny that you mentioned that because whenever I like am having conversations with my colleagues, like my faculty colleagues at the college where I work, people will often ask, "How did you start writing?" And I'm always like, "I actually started writing through Godzilla fan fiction." And they end up looking at me like, what? Like, what are you doing? So, and I'm just like, yeah, don't talk crap on fan fiction because fan fiction matters, and a lot of people start their writing careers or their teaching careers that way. Um, so now whenever I have students talking about fan fiction, I'm always like, what kind of fan fiction do you write? Please, by all means, like tell me about it. Share it with me if it's appropriate, of course. Um, but um but truthfully, beyond just that, there were a lot of instances where there was a lot of collaboration that took place. Another really popular collaboration that we did across the entire site was the Fanfiction Kaiju Tournament, which we would do pretty religiously every single year, where we would have individuals submit their own original character, and they would essentially get an opportunity to showcase their character in a tournament. So they would write a profile, they would, debate with other people about like, whether or not that character would be effective battling another character. And people would win or they would lose. But even if they lost, like it was still like a meaningful experience because it got not only their character, but also their written work out there, right? So I would argue beneficial. It's been a while since we've done it. We haven't done a tournament since I think 2000. Well, we haven't done a fan fiction kaiju tournament since like 2017 or 18. But let's just say there's some things happening in the ether that will lead to that again, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Oh, Red Griffin says, I love those, and it's a shame that mine never made it past round one. I think one of my characters won 1 year, but then after that, like people just got really good at creating really powerful characters. Like they would wipe the floor with my characters very easily. Oh well, it was all in good fun. Um, so like obviously in like the mid we'll say that 2010s, when social media started taking off, Kaiju Galaxy really started to lose steam. That paired with me going back to school, like I had a really difficult time um, managing my time and being on the site often. And I'm really grateful that I had my friend Ellen, who goes by Kiru, on there. She assisted me throughout a lot of that time, and eventually led the effort in creating Kaiju Galaxy 2.0, which is the current board that we have on the JSync host. Um, and that really took off. Like, I'm honestly kind of impressed with how active that it's been over the past year and a half. Because reviving a website, especially with few people still lingering, like I really found that a lot of people were happy that it was back again. So like it's been really nice, and I've been super excited that we've had kind of like this new opportunity that's been paired also with social media, so on and so forth. Um, so now that we're at Kaiju Galaxy 2.0, I feel like there is plenty of opportunity within the future of the site. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about that with you all here right now. So the first thing that I would like to announce is that, and I think we have a lot to thank with regard to, like, Kevin, for example, has been very instrumental in this. But we are planning on doing the KG OCT, which stands for Kaiju Galaxy Original Kaiju Tournament. And we wanted to kind of rebrand this a little bit from Fanfiction Kaiju Tournament and refer to it as the Original Character Tournament, because not every original character is always in a, fanfic, right? So we wanted it to be a little bit more all encompassing. But our goal with this is we want to reinvigorate people's excitement in creating fanfic characters, or original characters in general, but also um, lead into something where people's talents can be showcased in the sense of like their creative talents, because it takes a lot of creative ingenuity to create an original character, right? Um, but we also want to like reinvigorate some activity on the site again too through these tournaments. We do have some really interesting rewards that are going to be issued to those who win. I'm not going to go into a lot of those details right now, so you'll be able to read those on the site very soon once we get them like typed up and formalized a little bit. Let's see. Kevin says, I've been busy on it. You have been a busy bee on it. And this was your idea. So I want you to know that I am really giving you full credit on this. Um, Leo's here. We've been talking about the history of Kaiju Galaxy just a little bit. Just a lot of it, let's be honest. um, so another thing that I'm really excited to announce beyond the Kaiju Galaxy Original Character Tournament is I'm going to do a screen share here. Let's hope that I do it correctly. My goal is to reinvigorate the Kaiju Galaxy main website. Hopefully everybody can see this okay. I'm going to wait for it to pop up on my other screen. Okay, so everybody can see this okay. So I've been in the process of revamping the website, creating like very specific streamlined sections. I've been trying to be regular with updating the news, but over the past 17 years, the Kaiju Galaxy's not really had a concrete website. So my goal is to make sure that our website is continually producing work. So you'll be able to submit fan fiction, fan art, poetry, reviews, and I've also created a section for Kaiju YouTubers, because there really isn't a hub yet for Kaiju YouTubers, and there are a lot of them out there, content creators on YouTube. So my goal is to use this page to eventually flesh that out and give YouTube creators an opportunity to have a place, a website, who has a history showcasing their work. So I'm thinking that might be a really cool way for us to bring some activity back to our site, but also elevate people on a platform additional to what they already do, if that makes sense. Might be a wild idea on my part, but you know me, like wild ideas are always happening in my brain. Whether or not they are successful, well, time will tell. Another thing that is really new on the site is a submission page. So I really want to encourage artists, writers, musicians, um, videographers, so on and so forth. I want to encourage a lot of different people to submit their work because like I really feel like there are few publication outlets out there for kaiju fans. There's G Fan magazine, there is Kaiju Ramen, which is new and growing. I don't know if you've heard of Kaiju Ramen yet. Um, but I want to create like this space online where people can have their work published and showcased throughout the fandom. Because there is so much artistic talent that I think gets overlooked. And I think that people deserve to have that showcased to some degree or another. And truthfully, what makes me nerd out about this is it really kind of connects back to Kaiju Galaxy's original mission, which was to promote um, the artists in the fandom, right? So what we're looking for essentially, like this page shows you what we're looking for when it comes to content. So we're accepting fan fiction and original fiction submissions. So if you have an original character that has a fiction piece connected to it, we are encouraging you to submit. There are different submission guidelines right here. As of right now, it's only me that's the reviewer for these. So just keep that in mind. But as the site grows in I don't know, size, I'm expecting that reviewer amount to grow. But obviously, like since this is a passion project of mine, um, it would be very unrealistic of me to ask someone to set aside all of their time to review fan fiction, fan art, and poetry, you know. Um, so until we get more activity, I think I will probably be the only one reviewing. We're accepting poetry, reviews. This is one area that I'm also really excited about because there are already so many people out there who do more analytical pieces of writing where they write reviews. So I really want to encourage everyone, if you are a review writer, to submit your work. That would be awesome. Um, Personal essays or analyses, these types of things that we are accepting are like pieces of writing that aren't necessarily a review or a fanfic, but maybe like a reflection on how significant a character is, right? So on and so forth, to like a person's life or personal growth. So we are looking for those. Fan art, okay. I'm hoping that I can probably get a reviewer on who has more professional experience with assessing fan art than me. Because as much as I love fan art, I am not an artist. I am a writer, not an artist. So I'm probably going to recruit someone eventually to help me out with that. Music and videos, I'm hoping that we can get some submissions for those. Maddie, I might ask for your help on that since those are some of your areas of expertise. Um, uh, and I also have some other details here that everyone can read on their own time. Just remember that, well, eh, there's turnaround time. Like if you do submit something, it's going to take a couple of months for the site to respond. If you are accepted, you'll receive a confirmation email. If you're rejected, you will receive a follow-up email encouraging you to submit again. So this is kind of like taking on the form of like my goal is to fixate our site into being a professional publisher. Okay. When you want to submit, you click on this link and it opens up a submission form. Okay. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty proud that I put this together. But this form like allows you to put in your name, select which type of creative material you're submitting. You get to insert a short third-person biography, um, all sorts of things, and then you can add in your file. So Um, so yeah, that in a nutshell is what we have been doing, well, what I've been doing with that. But I'm really excited for that to take off. Over the next couple of weeks, my goal is to start mass sharing this throughout social media. So more kaiju fans can be familiar with it. So if you know anybody, because we know that sites like this operate through word of mouth. If you know anybody who might be interested in submitting anything, don't hesitate to, reach out to them. Um, Leo says, I hope this site will be accessible through my phone. It should be. I've tested it. If it's not, let me know and I can try to finagle with it and see what I can do differently. Let's see. Leo says I might use one of my original kaiju for the tournament. Yes, that would be amazing. Kevin's open to doing reviews. There's a lot of forgotten kaiju movies that need love. I agree completely. Oh, Advent Destiny's here. It's good to see you. I appreciate you thinking that it's efficient. Um, it's gone through a lot of adjustments. When it first came into being, the main site was extremely sloppy looking. It looked like a hot mess. It looks like how I feel on a regular basis. Looked like how I feel on a regular basis. Um, so now I do want you to keep in mind, like when you do start circulating word of this, um, tell people that we are accepting uh, submissions, but also keep in mind that they are going to be reviewed as well. I think a lot of people have like this idea that things are going to just be accepted like that, right? I have to at least be a little bit editorial when looking at submissions, right? Red Griffin, you're back. Can I hear you yet? I can't hear you. Oh no. If I was better at reading lips, I would know what you said, but I don't. I wish I was. I apologize. Let's see. Jeffrey says, I'd also be open to doing reviews once I get myself better organized. I'd like to produce some 3D art, maybe even try and work / collaborate on a fanfic. It's interesting that you mentioned that. P.S. Glad that you're interested, of course. But um one of our goals, and Kevin, please correct me if I'm wrong, but our goal with the OCT event is to turn it eventually into something bigger, like a collaborative piece of fiction, kind of like what When Aliens Attack was way a long time ago. So I'm hoping that we can do that. Um, that might be super fun. Red Griffin, are you there? Okay, can't hear you still, but I heard a change in background noise. I wasn't sure if like your microphone was working yet or not. Try speaking one more time. Nope, I still can't hear you. But there was a change in background noise, unless I'm hallucinating. Maddie, was there a change in background noise?
Yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't hallucinating. That's good. It's been a long day. I wouldn't put myself past that. Let's see. Ugh, no swears in my reviews. Yes, we have to be rated P because we don't know who else might be reading it. Believe me, that's very difficult for me considering I swear like a sailor in real life. Maddie knows this. Red Griffin knows this. I'm a very profane creature. I asked first to collab with Donnie, so Leo, you would be more than welcome to participate in this collaboration. See, my weaknesses when it comes to collaboration are role-playing collaborations. Because what happens for me with those is I am put on the spot and I have a really hard time producing work on the spot, if that makes sense. So I operate much better if it's like a collective fan fiction thing where I'm able to like have my little piece and work on it for a certain period of time. Red Griffin's like, I can't speak. Maybe I should just mime. that's too funny. Yeah, like I think you said that your microphone works in Discord. I don't know why it's not working. Um, Working now. Kevin's like, I'm Scottish. Are you implying that that's why you swear a lot? I didn't think that stereotype that's very common, unfortunately, was true. um, so, um, now that we're moving on toward like the last portion of things, I do want to pose some questions for discussion. So, Red Griffin, unfortunately, since your audio is not working, if you want to type your responses to these questions, you're more than welcome to. But Maddie, we'll discuss these as well. Oh, my friend Ari's here. Yay! Thank you. Ari's been on both Kaiju Galaxy sites um, for a long time as well. So, all right. So, our first discussion question that I would like to pose for the evening comes from Kajaris from Kaiju Galaxy, and it is, what would you personally like to see in the future for the Godzilla franchise? It could be films, merchandising, video games. Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna turn this thing off because it's driving me bananas. There we go. Um, do you want me to go first? Because I've already been thinking about this question for a while. Want me to go first, Maddie and Red Griffin?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What I would like to see, I would like to see more video games, honestly. More quality video games, kind of like what we got out of the Pipeworks Godzilla games in the 2000s, right?
Yeah,
Um, and I say this mostly because I've been playing Godzilla Save the Earth a lot and missing it. I loved that game so dearly. But I have heard that there is a fan effort on YouTube, especially, where they are trying to create like their own modification of the game, where they're trying to like remaster it. I'll have to check that out. It's been a while since I've heard of that, but I would honestly like to see more of that because aside from films, we haven't really gotten um much video game content. So Jeffrey says, "Yes, I'd like to see more video games. We are psychic, my friend, I swear." Yes. So, Red Griffin and Maddie, if what do you guys think? What would you like to see more of?
well, of course, I would like to see more films and well, I guess uh, 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 nat naturally, I would like to see uh, um, more of them coming uh, 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 from Japan actually. So so I would really like to see if they really go through with that with the whole world of Godzilla, like multiverse, like well the the cinematic universe idea that they had some years ago, and yeah, I don't know. Well, well, in these last few years, we've fortunately had many new types of merchandise come up, so that's always great. And yeah, like you said, I would like to see more video games in the future as well.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned the cinematic universe tidbit, right? Because Toho's mentioned, like, between Shin Godzilla and up until now, they've been like, we want to create our own cinematic universe, right? We haven't really gotten a lot of information on that yet, but that would be amazing. Like, I really think that Toho is kind of looking at what Marvel has been doing, especially, and being like, we can take advantage of this. People are still consuming this product, this character. Godzilla is still very popular. The MonsterVerse films have been pretty successful. Um, so why not, right? So I think that they're realizing that there is consumer base for it, not to sound overly technical. Um,
Oh, oh,
oh,
oh,
go ahead.
and also one thing I would like to see. I hope I hope that they do a season two of Godzilla Singular Point.
Maddie, I swear we're psychic because I literally was just thinking of Godzilla Singular Point. You know, people have been really critical of Toho's attempts at animated Godzilla tidbits, like media, but I don't want them to give up on it. Like, I think what they've produced has been artistically unique and interesting.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it may not be like my favorite entries in the franchise, but they're still very interesting. Like, I really enjoyed Godzilla Singular Point because I am a nerdy Star Trek fan, so like a lot of like the terminology in it, I was like, "Oh, I've heard that before." So I hope that they will continue that show as well. I do want to mention what Red Griffin would like to see more of, and that is Godzilla novels. Yes, I 100% agree with that. We've had the like film adaptations in like novel form, right? But we really haven't seen like actual novels, at least none that I've been aware of. That could have a lot to do with licensing. Like, we writers are very poor, and licensing the use of these characters is like very expensive, right? So I know, right? I'm kind of like please, like what can I sacrifice to you so you can let me write a large fanfic and get it published? I have a funny story, by the way. Um, by the way, while I am blabbing about this, if anybody wants to share in the chat, um, their answer to this, feel free. But so, funny story. When I was, I don't know, I think I was like 14 or 15 years old, when I was like knee deep in writing fan fiction, I actually wrote a letter to Toho. I wrote like this really annoying like fanboy letter, and I was just like, I love these characters so much. Can you please let me publish these like as novels? And I got like this really sad response back, and they were like pat 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 on the head. They were like you keep doing you, but no, like no you can't. So I, of course, my little child heart at that time, well, teenager heart was destroyed, but was one of my fond memories. I still have that, I think, buried in the recesses of my office somewhere. I think I should take it out and just frame it for, old time's sake and be like, look, I have correspondence from Toho. Um, let's see. Kevin says, good stories told in fun, interesting ways, a good gift fighting game. Kjaris is here. Thank you. It's good to have you on Kaiju Galaxy. Welcome. I know you're a newer member, and it's great to have you. Leo says there is a new kaiju visual novel I recommend, Kaiju Noir. I've heard of that, yes. I need to look into that more.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Like I feel like I've heard it around, but I've not like investigated it enough. Kevin says I hope the Monsterverse continues. Jeffrey agrees. And then Singular Point has some good fight scenes, but a weak story. The one thing that I really liked about Singular Point was the symbolism in all of it. But yeah, I do think that it had a weak, like this, the plot seemed really all over the place. I think that was their intent, but whether or not like that really made people fall in love with that, I think that's a completely different thing, you know. Um, Sci-Fi Channel sent you a T-shirt, but after reaching out to them, damn it, Toho, why didn't you send me a T-shirt? I'm gonna write you a follow-up letter on that. I'm kidding. I'm just being dramatic. Um, okay, so does anybody else have any other discussion questions? There's a couple more that I'm going to go through, but I would like some other thoughts. As I move on to the next one, Red Griffin says that he's mixed on Singular Point a little bit. Yeah, it was hit or miss, wasn't it? On like positives and negatives. Um, a question from Mike Zilla K. Dub titles. If they are faithful to the original language, are they good enough? Ooh. Oh, that could cause a debate. What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess that's well. Of course, I, I do uh, like uh, uh, actual real subs more, but I guess that that if the dub uh, like is close enough to the Japanese uh, language, I think most of uh, the international show dubs are close enough, and if if those DVD releases of those have dub titles, like for example, let's say Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla '74, then I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. For me, personally, I think it has to do with what type of viewing I'm doing. Um, because let's be honest, we will watch things for different reasons, right? Like for me, like if I'm just watching something just to chill, like maybe if I'm working on school stuff and I just need something playing in the background and I might tune into it every now and then, I may not care about like the subtitles if they're accurate, so on and so forth. We all know that dubbing is heinously inaccurate all the time. So I think like for casual viewers who may not want social or historical context, like that might be fine, right? For me, I tend to be a little bit more anal myself, and I'm like, I want context. Like, I want this to be accurate, you
Mm.
know, because I think it's also a gesture of respect toward the original creation, right? Um, let's see. Kevin says, I feel that subtitles get the main point across. I don't mind if they change some words. I agree with that, actually. Um, Coming from the perspective of a person who has studied language, I understand that sometimes depending they sometimes change wording so the context remains because sometimes things get lost in translation, right? Like there might be a word for one specific thing in Japanese, but there may not be a word for it in English that accurately reflects the meaning. So they may have to like incorporate a phrase or something that kind of like fills in that context. I really think that in some films they get a little bit careless with it, but in other films like they take a lot more serious consideration like Shin Godzilla for example. I really think that that film does a very good job of like balancing subtitles and dubbing and so on and so forth. Um Pip, you're more than welcome to disagree with me if you would like, by the way. Red Griffin agrees with Kevin. I would put your comments up, but since they're in the private chat, I can't, so I'll just read them off. I hope that's okay. StreamYard doesn't allow me to display private chat comments. Um, ooh, I've seen other conversations get into huge debates over that, but we're all diplomatic people here, right? So, let's see. So, Mystery Science Theater 3000. We're all, well, most of us are familiar with that, right? A it essentially is a media that parodies like classic films, right? So, do you think it's a fun way to share tokusatsu or is it a detriment? I will answer first because I you know me, I have an opinion on everything. Um I think it is fun to share with seasoned fans who have been a fan of the franchise for a while. For people who are new to the franchise, who are new to tokusatsu in general, I think that it plays on stereotypes and kind of makes people think like, oh yeah, well this is ridiculous man in a suit, you know, and I think it kind of like disempowers the significance of it. Um, for like newer fans, but for seasoned fans, like we all can sit back and be like, yeah, this is a man in a suit, and yeah, comparing it now, like it can be interpreted as funny, but we take it seriously, right? Um, Ooh, Leo makes a good point regarding the last question. It's not just about translating, it's about localization so another audience can relate better. Yes. Leo, brilliant. Love it. So, what are your guys' thoughts about this question?
Yeah, well, I have not actually seen any of the uh, like kaiju films uh, that got the that got the mystery science theater treatment, but 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 from what I've seen, like there like 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 there's some other stuff. I think that's a I think that's a pretty fair way to watch these movies. I mean, especially uh, uh, for many uh, viewers that are not actually like true fans of the genre,
Mhm.
and if they like if they find something that they enjoy in those, then I think it could be a quite good like way to get them uh, into the genre maybe.
You know, I never thought of that. It could be kind of like a gateway, right? Like
Yeah,
a
yeah, exactly.
yeah, that's an interesting point. Um, well, yeah, and the truth is satire often has been used that way in the past, right? Like sometimes satire can help guide us into a genre and help us learn to appreciate it. Um,
And
Red Griffin says not sure. Totally fair. Maddie, were you going to add something?
yeah, yeah, and I and I think it still like says something that is that there are kaiju episodes are still quite fondly uh, looked upon since especially all the camera movies got released on DVD and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a good. I think like you building up from what you said, it really dispersed these films to a wider audience, especially the Gamera ones, because I feel like sadly Gamera has kind of paled in Godzilla's shadow for a long time. Um, but that kind of gave more exposure, right? So
Mhm.
that's interesting. I never thought of it that way. See, this is why we have these conversations. I love it. So we got about 10 minutes left before we wrap up. I wish we could stream longer, but well, it's like what 2 a.m. over where Maddie is, and I'm running on fumes coffee wise. But the last question for the night, which I think might get a lot of conversation, is if the monster verse continues after Godzilla versus Kong, what would you like it to explore? I came up with this one. I know
Mhm.
that's a hard one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, if you're on social media, you probably see a lot of people circulating these memes of like the monster verse where they're kind of like the next phase, and then the next phase is going to have these films, kind of like Marvel has done. And it's really funny to see what people come up with. But ideally, Leo says, Gamera in the Monsterverse. Wouldn't that be nice? I would love that. Um, well, you know me. Shameless me would love a solo Mothra movie. Like I do think that Toho's Big Five deserve like their own solo film, honestly. Um, so like Rodan, Ghidorah, Mothra, I think they deserve. Oh, Mechagodzilla as well deserve a solo film. Um, because like as much criticism as Godzilla King of the Monsters got, like I really feel like it really modernized the characters considerably and gave them personality that a lot of people have not envisioned, right? So I think that would be really cool to see. Um Red Griffin says more of the Titans that got only a small appearances in King of the Monsters. I agree. There were so many in there that were just like a fleeting cameo, and I think they deserve a little bit more exposure too. Maddie, what do you think?
Yeah, uh, this is uh, this is a tough one. Well, firstly, I would be really interested uh, to see that that if they like I guess uh, take the next step with this and bring the MonsterVerse uh, to TV. Like I think there's been some rumors that they might do like a Kong TV series or something. So mm,
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that because I really think that Legendary should be looking at what Disney Plus is doing right now. Like I would pay for a streaming service. Damn it. Like I would pay for a streaming service if as long as they produce content, right? Like it'd be really cool to see like TV shows, like maybe like a backstory on Mothra, like miniseries,
mm,
or like so many different things. Um, Leo's like, I want a kaiju rom com. When did Mothzilla begin? I'm sure I'm gonna have people cringing over that. Oh well, that's my job. I enjoy making people cringe. Um, Kevin says the Hollow Earth and movies set in the past. I think the director of
mm,
Godzilla King of the Monsters, Mike Doherty, brought that up, right? Like where he wanted to do like a film that explores like prehistoric like kaiju, like how did Godzilla and Mothra's symbiotic relationship begin? Lo, those many years ago, Ghidorah's original arrival on Earth. Like there would be so much awesome stuff they could do with that.
mm.
Kevin says I had an idea for how to do a Kong versus Frankenstein movie where the monster would be made from parts of dead titans. Ooh, that would be creepy, kind of horror esque.
Mm,
Kevin says that Kong show is happening on Netflix. Okay, so it is out
mm,
there. Yeah. Or it will be happening.
mm. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I'm not surprised they're doing a Kong show over a Godzilla one, though, because they'll have to pay for the licensing again to reuse Godzilla.
Mm.
Leo, How I Met Your Mothra.
Oh
I'd watch
God.
it. If Mothra can be like this dressed up like 1980s like housewife soccer mom, my personal life goal. Just kidding. Just kidding. Any other ideas, my friends, in the chat, or either you, Maddie, or you, Red Griffin? Any other ideas of how other things you would like the MonsterVerse to explore? Ooh, I just came up with one. Um, I really think that them introducing the Oxygen Destroyer in Godzilla King of the Monsters clearly leaves Destroya as being one of the characters that they could introduce.
Mm. Good point.
And I think that would be amazing. Like, why not? Biolante. I would love to see Biolante again, who is arguably one of the most hugest fan favorite kaiju outside of the top five, right?
Mm, yeah.
So we need to see Our Lady Biolante again. Is that the idea of the Mothra soccer mom that you're talking about? Please do. Let's see. Red Griffin says, I am hoping for the Son of Kong rumor to happen. I think that would be really cool too. I really feel like the MonsterVerse has done Kong a lot of justice that he's not received in prior films and adaptations. Just saying. So, last but not least, I think a Destroy All Monsters type of film would be great. I
Hmm.
mean, in Godzilla King of the Monsters, we almost got that when all the Titans started rising, right? Um, like the film could like I don't know, like I think it would just be really cool to do that. Um, I would like to learn more about the ancient civilizations that worshipped each of the Titans, each of the Alpha Titans specifically. Like that would be really cool. Like I think that like the MonsterVerse has established so many really cool things that could really broaden the universe and make it more, encompassing.
Oh, and actually, now that you mentioned that, I think one quite decent idea could also be like we could get like a mini series or something uh, about about how uh, how um, uh, 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 Monarch came to be.
That is brilliant. Yes, like a, an organization so central in each of the films. Like we need more information, right? Like we need more. Um, Great idea. Jeffrey says I could tie into the King of the Monsters idea of Jonah trading in Titan DNA. You know, I'm glad that you mentioned that because one of my pet peeves of Godzilla versus Kong is that it kind of just lets that plot point kind of fizzle out. Like, we could have gotten more on that, I think. Kevin says Jaguar make him a relic from an ancient civilization. I will give Singular Point one thing. I love what they did with Jet Jaguar.
Hmm. Yeah.
100%. Jeffrey also says it would make sense for a film with Destroya as the antagonist to destroy all monsters, requiring all the Titans to fight together to defeat a universal threat. Bingo! Oh, the one earlier, the King of the Monsters DNA reference to Biolante. See, they could do so many things. They've left so many of these openings. I wonder if they deliberately did that. Hmm. One can speculate, right? Um, Red Griffin says, I love Monster vs. Kong and kind of like that Jet Jaguar idea. I do as well. I really feel like Jet Jaguar is kind of one of those difficult characters to really incorporate, but like making him like this relic, right? Like I think that would be super interesting. I want to see Batra again. Just randomly throwing that out there. Like any Heisei kaiju, I want to see them again. All right, friends. Well, I'm gonna wrap things up because we've been streaming for about an hour. Um, Again, thank you for joining us tonight for Kaiju Galaxy's 17th birthday. It isn't exactly a large G Fest reunion, but it is the next best thing, and it's been fun being able to sit and have a conversation. Red Griffin, your cat is adorable, by the way. Um, yes, I mean, amen, Red Griffin. He said needs more Batra. Yes. But again, thank you all for being dedicated to this site. It really means a lot to me. I feel like we've created a nice little community where we can all kind of gush about the same things and just kind of create a sense of family. Like it really means a lot. And it's my hope that we'll continue growing. even though like social media is a huge competitor, but I certainly believe that we can use social media to our advantage. And if you know anybody out there, or if you yourself are interested in submitting work to Kaiju Galaxy, please do. And I think our main website especially has the potential of really expanding and becoming something bigger. All right. So thank you all for tuning in tonight. Have a great rest of your evening. I'm going to have a celebratory glass of wine to celebrate Kaiju Galaxy's birthday. You do what you all want to do, but I'm going to have a glass of wine. So,
By the way, one more thing.
of course.
Uh, I just wanted to say this because I thought that you would just like to hear this. Actually, a few hours ago, I, I was I was listening to some tracks from the score of the first uh, 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 rebirth of Mothra on YouTube.
Uh, yes. I could do 500 streams on how much I love those musical scores. Super underrated, in my opinion.
Mm. Yeah, well, the, there's one track in the first movie, especially that's called "The Instant of Life." I mean, that track is so gorgeous.
It's beautiful. Like there are so many small moments in those musical scores, especially that first one where like it's very breathtaking in my opinion. So people can say all the bad things that they want. Yeah, sure, Red Griffin, you can show me whatever you're going to show. Um, People can hate on the Mothra trilogy all they want, but it has some really strong points, and I think that the musical score by Toshiyuki Watanabe is one of the best ones. Oh, is it the plushie? Is that the giant one, or is that the? I didn't know it had a different size. It's so cute. Oh my god. With that thought in mind, this thing, yours might be smaller, Red Griffin, but it's still adorable and cuddleable, right? But this thing, I spent probably too much money on it, but I have no regrets. All right, friends. Well, giant plush rainbow Mothra says goodnight. Um, we love you, and go join Kaiju Galaxy if you've not done so yet, and feel free to submit your work. Thank you again for tuning in tonight, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.